Thanks for coming, everyone. We appreciate the time that you've given this evening. And I would like to introduce Alan from Chamber Discoveries. He is the gentleman that has planned all of our trips so far, and they've been very successful. And so I am going to now turn the session over to Alan so he can begin to talk about the October 2021 Greece trip.
Well, thank you, Doris. I appreciate it. Good to be with you guys today. We've had a great relationship with the Marion Chamber. We appreciate all the years of business together. This is probably our 7th, maybe. I'm kind of going back. I'm probably close, give or take one in there somewhere, Matt. Right? It's pretty close. So,
yeah.
You know, Deanne, we've done a number of trips with the Chamber. We've had a lot of fun with them. They're a great group and great group to travel with. And we're really looking forward to the Greece program. I suggested that to Matt this year. Greece has been extremely popular over the last few years. Several years ago, Greece was off the charts, completely off the charts. We were sending people there like crazy, and it buffered a little bit because of the economy there, which kind of dropped in Greece. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it's all come back, but some of it has come back, and people are flocking back again and want to go back to Greece. Greece is a great destination, plenty to see. The people there are friendly. They love the Americans. It's just been a great destination again for people to travel. And you know, from a COVID standpoint, look, we're all in the COVID world today. We kind of know. Greece has had their share, but they have not had the influx that other countries. We hear on the news today, recently, we hear about Italy, and we hear about Spain and some of the real hot spots. Greece has had theirs, but not to the extent of others. So we're hopeful as this all plays out. We're cautiously optimistic that things are going to get much better for all of us now that vaccines are on the way, we'll say. There's still a lot of detail we don't know, but we're cautiously optimistic that we're going to get back to travel again for the fall. Maybe by the spring, we'll see, but certainly by the fall of 21. And Dan, to your point earlier, we've got so many travelers that have talked to us and said that, you know, there's so much pent-up frustration of people that want to get out and do something and travel. Yeah. They're anxious. They want to get out and go. I had several groups this past fall in the heart of it. When I called to tell them their trip wasn't going, they're going, Alan, we got travelers that are really unhappy. And I said, well, I hope you understand the COVID part of it. And they said, oh, we do. They just want to go. They're so frustrated. They want to get out and go. So, you know, hopefully as this all plays out, we're all going to watch, but let's hope that the vaccines, et cetera, come, that we get some comfortability and some normalcy back to travel, and we get back to it again. So kind of that said, let me kind of jump in. And first off, Dan, I don't know if you're familiar with who we are, Chamber Discoveries, and I see Elaine has joined, and welcome Elaine. And please ask questions as we go along. I'll be happy to try to answer. Chamber Discoveries is a tour operator based out of Fresno, California. We have been doing group travel predominantly with chambers and other affinity groups for about 35 years now. So we're not a new company, been around for quite a while. Part of Edelman Travel Group, you'll see things that you probably see up on my screen. You see Edelman. Edelman bought us about 8 years ago. Top 10 travel management company in the country, based out of Milwaukee. It's been a wonderful relationship. And they, about 2 years ago, were purchased by a company called BCD, just like the alphabet, BCD Travel. And BCD Travel is the second largest travel management company in the world. Not only a huge US presence, but a huge European and international presence as well. So we kind of, if you look at the ladder, we fall down into a very big organization. And I say that only because throughout all this tough time, there's always been questions about, you always want to question where your vendor is. Are they sustainable? Have they weathered the storm, so to speak? It's been a tough year. I can't deny. But we're going to be just fine. And we look forward to picking back up in travel next year. We're good, we're healthy, and we'll continue. So you've got a good partner with you that's going to take care of you as we go along. I'm always asked, why do we like this trip? And several reasons for Greece. Well, first of all, with Greece, there's an opportunity to see a lot. You're going to see a lot of Greece, see a lot of history behind it. You should encounter great weather. I was there 2 years ago in the fall, same time you're going, and the weather was beautiful. 70-ish during the day, 70, 72 during the day, a little cooler in the mornings and evenings, but light jacket type weather. So it's great to travel. It's great to do your tours. It's comfortable, not too hot, but certainly you're not getting into any kind of cold weather in Greece. And it was wonderfully dry when we were there. Now, I can't necessarily predict all that for sure, but the weather should be very, very good. We love the fact we're going to be staying at an all-inclusive hotel. We kind of like that. All your meals are going to be handled there, so I think you'll like that as a traveler. So, I mean, those are some of the things. And then I think on the back end, and we're going to talk more about it, we're going to talk more about the hotel, but on the back end, you have the opportunity to spend, if you like, it's an option on the back end of the trip, to spend 3 nights in Santorini. And if you've never been to Greece, well, you see it behind me. It is what they call the jewel of Greece, and it is spectacularly beautiful. It's where everyone wants to go. I can't tell you the number of travelers and people that we've taken to Greece. They've always said, I wish I could spend more time in Santorini. So we've outlined the trip to give you, the traveler, some extra time and more time in Santorini now with our trip. And so if it's something that you want to do, it's an option. But if it's something you want to do, I would highly suggest it. It probably is the most magnificent island of all that you might encounter there in Greece. It's simply beautiful. So I've got a PowerPoint I'm going to click over to, and I'm going to walk you through it a little bit, tell you a little bit about the trip. Let me share screen. And here. Can you see it? I don't think. Yeah.
Yes, I can see it.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dan, can you see it? Okay,
Yes.
Good. Very good. So, so we're going to have an October 21 departure out of Columbus. I don't know air. You know, the question always comes, what will air look like? I don't know it. Certainly not now. My suspicion will be there'll be a connection. It'll probably look something like to New York, and then New York on to Athens would be my guess. But there'll be a connection in there. We'll have more information to share with you as we get a little closer. There we go. Air, as I mentioned. So we'll get some more details for you for air and flights as we move forward. As I said earlier, we're going to be staying at the all-inclusive King Saran Resort Hotel. This is a lovely hotel that provides, I think, a little more than the norm for you. As I mentioned, you're going to have all your meals there, breakfast, lunches, dinners, all will be had. Well, we're going to have a couple side dinners and side lunches, but the rest will all be handled there at the hotel. It's really a lovely setting right on the water. A lot of little amenities that I think you'll enjoy. So really a nice setting and really a very lovely hotel. A couple snapshots for you of the rooms, your meals as mentioned, kind of get an idea of what the restaurant, what the eating area might look like there. Bottom right is the main lobby area, very nice. Big pool area as well, and beaches right behind the pool is the beach. So, you know, a little casual time where you might want to walk the beach, stroll the beach, or sit out on the beach. There'll be a little time for those kind of things. but a nice relaxing setting for you. There's also, what we liked was this is nice because of the patio, there'd be some outdoor dining if you like, and just some relaxation outdoors. There's even other activities that you can do if one wants to sit on the beaches as mentioned, or do some paddle boarding. I think there's even snorkeling there if you like. So the resort offers a lot to our travelers than just the normal hotel. So that's our day one and day two. So day one will be travel into day two. You'll be flying in, it's an overnight flights, arriving into Athens, mid-morning would be my guess or so, and we'll have our guides there to welcome you and get you to the hotel, get you settled in at the hotel. That'll be our day two. So day three is really the start of our trip, and here we begin our journey in Athens. You're going to be taking a overall tour in Athens, a guided tour. All of our tours are guided, by the way. We'll be using the whisper system when necessary, and that's the little earplugs that you can put in and hear the guides. You're out in the open, you're outside, you can have just outside noise or traffic, etc. The whisper system is really nice because it lets you not have to stand on top of the guide all the time when you're trying to hear what they have to say, and it makes it much more comfortable for you. You can see things, look around a little bit. You don't have to be right on top of them. The whisper system is very, very popular. But we're going to take our tour. We're going to see all the typical things that you want to see, that you should see. You'll see the Temple of Zeus and the Royal Palace, and Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. You'll see Olympic Stadium. They're going to guide you through all these different spots, tell you the history, and I think that's the one thing. Here's a quick shot of the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. I think the one thing with our guides that I really like, they're an abundance of knowledge. They tell you the past history. They give you all the details. I think you're going to walk away not only enjoying the trip, but you're going to be very knowledgeable about some of the history of Greece. These guides are really, really, really knowledgeable and really do a good job. Part of the tour, I don't think a trip to Greece would be right if you weren't going to the Acropolis. And we're going to take you to the Acropolis on the tour. Again, 2nd century AD built, has been restored now, is continuously being restored, still used for summer programs, orchestras, and stage performances. Couple shots, that's from the back side of the Acropolis. Inner shot, and you can see, kind of get a good glimpse of what it looks like today. And pardon me?
So that is still being used today?
Still used today, yeah, Matt. Still being used today for different performances and stuff. I don't think it's being used as we would think, like every weekend or all the time. But there are certain events there during the year that they do hold there still. So amazing, isn't it, that they would continue to hold events awesome. There? Yeah, it really is. So we're going to visit that. We're also going to visit the Parthenon, obviously. Parthenon, massive structure. Again, took over 9 years to construct, made of all marble. High point of the city, this whole area. What I found was kind of interesting. It built, you'll see a quick shot here of the night. Great shot in the evening, lit up, spectacular. Here's another shot I wanted to show you because as it continues, always kind of going to being rebuilt, all the bricks and the brickwork that you see down at the bottom, the rocks down there, those are all marked stones in replacement. So as deterioration happens, they have stones and bricks, etc., all laid out, and you'll see this in your tour all around the Parthenon. You'll see bricks. It's mostly are replacement bricks. It's not just pieces that have fallen that they've stacked up. Many of those are actual replacements that they have for future use. Just another piece of what it looks like. Now, this is the highest point in the city, right? That evening, after your tour, and the day, it's pretty much a day tour that you're going to see. We come back, freshen up, and we head to the PLAKA area, and we head there for our dinner show, our Greek dinner show that we're going to have that night. I think you'll enjoy. Now, PLAKA is an area about 10 or 15 blocks square in the center, right in the center of Athens. It's a lot where the locals go. It's where the tourists and travelers go to eat, to drink, to shop. Indoor cafes, outdoor cafes, really quite a large area that I think you'll enjoy. If you have time, you can pick up trinkets there that you might want to buy, etc. It's a fun place, and again, a lot of travelers enjoy it for eating, drinking, enjoyment, and shopping. A couple of quick slides at the Taverna there in Athens. That's where we'll be at for our dinner. The crew there have really quite a show of singing and dancing. There's audience participation. If Dan, if you would have interest in getting up and showing off your singing or dancing talents, you will have the opportunity to do that. You'd be a better man than I, to be honest with you. That's, but
very, very questionable.
Yeah, I hear you. But the entertainers do a good job, and it's a lengthy show. They show you a lot, and they do a good job. Everybody enjoys. They eat, have their dinner and drinks, and it's a very, very nice evening. Just another quick shot of the dinner. We then now go into day 4, and day 4 is our day. This is an optional day in Delphi. And Delphi probably is one of the more popular archaeological sites that we go to. It's a very popular day in Athens. Delphi had a lot of important religious and political influence to the Greeks at the time. They always believed that it was the center of the world. This is where heaven and earth met. That was their belief. Again, this is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. And you get some glimpses of some of this, of some of these sites. And there's going to be, I mean, this tour has plenty of this, but Delphi gives you a lot of history. They'll explain what the center of the earth meant to them at the time. It's really a spectacular area to see, a lot of picture taking. You'll enjoy seeing. That's a full day tour, and our day 5 takes us to what we call the ancient sites and mountainside villages. So we'll be going to places called, like Mycenae, Epidaurus, Nafplion. I think that the key and one of the highlights here is the theater of Epidaurus that you'll visit. Built in the 3rd century BC, it's renowned for its acoustics, the remarkable acoustics there. You know, the claim is you can hear a coin drop from anywhere in the theater, and most will test that. We did. Our guide stood right there in the middle of the circle, and several of us in our group climbed up the stairs up to the very top to see if it was true, and she dropped a couple coins, and yes, you could certainly hear those coins drop. You'll see people testing that many times. There'll be people there in the center that'll be singing We had a little quartet with another group that had just come in behind us, and they were singing, and we were listening to them sing up top. It is remarkable for the structure, the kind of acoustics that you'll hear there. Really fantastic. I think the other interesting part was, and I go back only in that this laid undiscovered until excavation started in the late 19th century. And it was actually finally restored in 1954, which really wasn't all that long ago, right? So just laid there undiscovered for so many years till the 1900s. Just another quick shot there of the theater. As mentioned, we'll go into Mycenae, and we'll see Mycenae, and here there's a lot of history. Mycenae is all about, if we think back to the King of Sparta and Lion's Gate, it's kind of where the Trojan War began. That's the history of this. A lot of people refer to the movie Troy with Brad Pitt. A lot of this this is what they were depicting at the time, was this area of the Trojan War. So you're going to see a lot of history here, a lot of ruins. You'll go to the king. The king there was King Agamemnon, and you'll see his tomb. He was the ruling king at the time. Go in and see the tomb where he is. So you'll see a lot of that history. So between those cities, I'm telling you, there's a lot of history and a lot of time. That'll be a very I don't want to say a long tour, but a very detailed tour of those areas that you'll see. And I just highlighted a couple of the areas that you'll see. Day six takes us to Olympia. And Olympia, I guess we kind of walk in the footsteps of the world's first Olympic heroes to a degree. You'll see the Olympic racetrack in some of the areas where they first created Olympics, and they'll go to the Temple of Zeus and Hera. These temples, they have other areas there. You'll go to the treasury and the council house. There's an archaeological museum there that has many sculptures. I know it has some statues, etc. But there's a big museum that you'll see in accordance with seeing the temple and the whole Olympic area. Day 7 of the trip takes us to the Corinth Canal. I thought this was really interesting. Now, this is the canal that connects the Gulf of Corinth with the Saronic Gulf that's in the Aegean Sea. It kind of cuts through this isthmus of Corinth, from taking them from Italy into the Aegean Sea, because they would have to go all the way around, which took a lot of time in the past. So it took 12 years to complete, and you're going to actually board a ship there, and you're going to enjoy crossing through the canal. I will tell you, it's extremely, extremely narrow. No big ships can get through, and only the small, very smaller ones, and barely go through. I think you'll be amazed that as they go through, you'll probably at times feel like you could reach out and touch the walls on both sides. They're so narrow as those ships go through. But I did not have the opportunity to take the ship through, which I think will be remarkable. You will have that opportunity to take the ship and cross through the canal in that way. Just another quick shot of that. Our day eight takes us kind of, it's an optional tour to the Saronic Gulf, where it's going to give you an opportunity to see. We're going to kind of island hop through these next three this next day. See 3 different islands. We're gonna go into Agistri and Tamani and Aegina. Give you an opportunity to see some of the islands. Now, these islands, kind of have a little bit of everything, to be honest with you. You're going to see ancient temples in each of these islands, to wild peacocks, to pristine beaches. I know on one, and I'm sorry, I don't know which one, I can't remember, there's an optional, you can take a bike ride kind of through the island, a guided bike ride that'll take you through. There's a little bit of everything for everybody at each of these stops. We do a nice Greek lunch on board the ship that takes you through. And by the way, the ship, we catch the ship will take you right straight from your hotel on this day, and you're going to take the island hop straight from the hotel. So the ship's going to pick you up right at the hotel, take you out. We're going to tour these different islands and enjoy them, and have a great lunch on board, and then head back. But it's a great way to see some of the islands and get a little glimpse of everything there. Like I mentioned, some ruins, some beautiful beaches, bike ride, do a bike ride through the city. It can be a lot of fun, and I think that'll be a day that's kind of interactive and a great day to see each of these different islands. Now that takes us to day 9. Here's just a quick shot of Athens, kind of give you a scope of Athens and how the Acropolis sits at the very top. It's the highest point, certainly in Athens, but some beautiful scenery, great picture taking throughout. So for the group that does not want to go on to Santorini, day 10, then we will have flights back from Athens, and you'll fly back that day, back home again, with hopefully a lot of great memories of Greece. And for those that continue on, we have the 3-night post-tour to Santorini. I probably can't say enough nice words. It sounds almost like I'm just selling it too hard, but I don't know that I've seen a city as beautiful, an island as beautiful as Santorini. It is spectacularly beautiful. The ambiance, just the whole setting there is just beautiful, comfortable. It's a place you want to be, and you want to be there for a while. So we're going to take the ferry over to from the hotel. We're going to take that on over to Santorini. And the tour includes breakfast each morning, these 3 nights, and 3 nights of accommodations. There'll be a big city tour of Santorini with a wine tasting. The Greeks have some pretty good wines. If you like wines and have not had Greek wines, I think you'll be mildly surprised. They have some very, very fine wines. And especially free time for you in Santorini to explore at your leisure and enjoy Santorini, full of shops, full of beautiful cafes and restaurants that overlook, and there's a couple of shots here that I think you'll enjoy. Great to just spend your time. We'll have the tour, but it gives you your time to spend in Santorini, and I think that's something you'll appreciate, that we're not dragging you through tours each day or anything like that. We get our tour, we do it, and you've got some free time to enjoy Santorini the way you want to enjoy it. It certainly is the most breathtaking of all islands. It sits up at the top of the Fira village. That's the top of the hillside and the steep cliffs. You'll have great views from throughout the area. It is dramatic, there's no question. And if you're not familiar, I mean, it was formed from the remains of the volcanic crater. Kind of gives you a glimpse how it sits up on the hillside, and is the very top on the right side is really where we'll be going. There's several ways to get up, by motor coach, or you can actually take a mule if you'd like to take the mules up. There's a mule ride that'll take you up. I don't necessarily prefer that, but that is a way to do it. Several people have done it before. There's also a car that'll take you straight up the hillside. You kind of see it on the right side there. that'll take you straight up to the very top, just a couple of minutes straight up to the top. You'll have a lot of time to stroll through the beautiful area. I stood right at that spot. This is not my picture, but I stood right at that spot and saw this area, and it just is simply amazing. Just a beautiful shot of Santorini. The marble paved alleys, like I said, great shops, real characteristic buildings, just carved right into the rock. It's a spectacular area for you to sit, enjoy, and just take in the scenery and the shops and the restaurants and etc. I wanted to talk a minute about, we talked just a hair about COVID and the things that surround that. And some of it surrounds a couple of things. And one is in the trip, couple of things. One is there is, in your brochure, there is an opportunity, if you're buying cancellation insurance for this trip, that if for some reason at the end you don't want to go. Look, we live in a world today where there's question marks, and the last thing you want is to worry about putting money down, and at the end, for whatever reasons it may be, and let's even use COVID as the example tonight because that's on us all, that you're not comfortable about traveling, and you want to go, but for whatever reason you may not want to do this. There is, in your brochure in the back, there is an opportunity to purchase what we call cancel for any reason insurance, cancellation insurance. That lets you hold monies, deposits, and or if you've made payments, up till 48 hours prior to departure to get your money back. 48 hours prior to departure. Under normal circumstances, we do have refunds, but as we get closer to trip time, those monies decrease. And when we get to, certainly to 30 days prior to travel, there typically, under normal circumstances, would not be refunds at that time for travelers. But we have, because of our world today, we have now provided this cancel for any reason insurance. I hope we believe it's a peace of mind for you as a traveler to know that you can sign up, be excited to go as we all are, but if at the end there's something you're not comfortable with, and that can be any reason, bad hair day, as we say sometimes, you have the opportunity to cancel 48 hours prior and get your money back. So that I wanted to mention because I want you to pay attention to that. That's a key piece for you to, I think, is to purchase that cancel for any reason, because that really lets you out up to 48 hours. The other is, and I put on the screen here for you, just what we're doing. There's a lot of protocols for us that we have outlined that we are working on. And I will tell you, I mean, today, this is kind of our outline, but it's kind of a fluid situation. We're looking at these things almost daily. But I wanted just to pop them up on there. I'm not going to walk through each of them, but what I wanted to show you was that we take it extremely seriously. And we have what we call our Edelman Assurance Program, which we're trying to implement safety policies and procedures to keep our guests safe throughout the trip. And you can see about rearranging seating on our coaches, to face coverings and disinfecting and air conditioning systems. And we're certainly going to be social distancing, etc. So I just wanted to pop that up to you, and I'd be happy to provide this, Doris and Matt, to you. You can hand out. I have a formal sheet on it if you'd like, that you're welcome to share with Deanne and anyone else that might have interest in going on the trip. But I just think it's important for you to know that, yeah, we rely on our airlines to make sure they're following their protocols. We're making sure the hotels are following their protocols. And we certainly have a stake in it too, and we've got to make sure our protocols are followed and that we have them to make your travels as safe as possible. So I've talked a lot here as we've gone on. Is there any questions at this point? Can I answer any questions for anybody?
Yeah, where do we get the brochure that you referenced?
Matt should have them. Matt Doris, you've got the brochures, don't you?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, we do, Dan. And we can actually send those in a PDF format as well.
Okay, great, good.
Got them both ways for you, paper and
Yeah.
PDF for you.
Yep.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Okay.
next question, what about the language situation? Now, I know we've got tour guides with us, but if we don't go on the guided, or if we go on the optional, we don't go on the tour during the optional things, we're on our own, what's the situation with the language in that area?
You'll not have any problems. They actually, many of them speak some pretty fair English. They really do. I did not have 1 ounce of problems with any kind of language barrier over there. So with the guides, no problem at all. They're very perfect English speaking people. Some of them are actually Americans that we have.
Okay.
But no worries as far as if you're out on your own for, maybe you're up at, you're up at Santorini to have dinner and you're on your own, and will they understand you? Dan, they understand English probably better than we do, to be perfectly honest.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
they're
right.
very good at it. Very, very good at it. No worries there at all. So.
Okay, and then what about the optional tours? Do we have something there that tells us what the costs of those are?
We will, yes. I would tell you today, usually those costs, Dan, come down a little later in the process.
Okay.
I would say
All right.
4 to 6 months out, we should know the final cost. I'll ballpark you tonight and tell you each will probably be about $100, give or take. It could be just a little less than that, could be a hair
Okay.
more, but I think that they'll all fall right around that $100 mark.
Okay, and then the Santorini, do you have that figure?
Santorini, yeah, Santorini was, I don't have it in front of me. Is it $7.99, Matt or Doris? Can you help me on that? I just don't have the brochure right in front of me.
Yeah, hold on 1 second.
It's going to take me a second to
I'm
find it.
sorry. And good question, Dan, and I'm
That's
sorry.
a really good question.
Yeah. We usually put it on the right there, and you know what? It's not on there. Thank you, Dan. We're going to put that price right on there.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I want to. I believe it's $8.99, but Doris or Matt, you can correct me as you're looking. You guys can correct me if I'm
Yeah,
wrong.
and Dan, that'll be part of the brochure as well. That's listed.
It'll be
Okay.
on there for sure.
All
Yeah,
right.
it's
Yeah.
definitely on there, Dan, for
Yeah.
sure.
Okay.
And as soon as this session's over, Dan, I'll email that to you. So you have a
Great.
copy of it.
Okay, and then you have an early bird that if you pay by the November 30th, that you get a special price. Does that include the optional tours? Do they need to be paid now too?
Do not, and optional tours do not have to be paid, Dan, until later on, even in the
Okay.
process. You could register and put a deposit, and that's all it takes for that $100 to go into effect. You do not have to have full payment.
Okay.
Just have your deposit in. That's all.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay, and so that's all for that. And even at that, so you want to sign up and you say, yeah, I want to go on the trip, and say you make your payment or you're paying for the trip. You can always decide on the optionals later. You'll get a note. You're going to have one of our operational managers that's assigned. It's either Brian or Sandy. And
Okay.
Matt and Doris have heard of Sandy before, I think, because she's done some of your trips in the past. They'll be doing all the details for your trip, but they will send out a notice to you down road. Hey, everybody that signed up, Now I need to know whether you want to go on any of these optional trips. And that's way down the road, Dan. So it's
Okay.
not quick. Yeah.
All right. And one last question. I'm sorry to ask you so many questions.
No, you're
Okay.
good.
Yeah,
What
you're doing
about-
great.
As far as the cancellation insurance, do you know what that would run?
It'll tell you, they'll give you a firm price. If you want me to ballpark it,
Sure, that'd be fine.
3.25, 325 is my ballpark on it. Somewhere right in that range. Don't hold me to the exact dollar.
Okay. All right.
There's an example.
Yes,
I
there's two
think on the
examples on the,
brochure. Is it
Yeah.
say it on there, Matt, on the back? They give
There
an
are two.
example, Dan.
it
Yeah.
does.
Okay.
I'm seeing 244 or for the Travel X 360 and 345 for John Hancock Bronze Plan.
345. Okay, so I was off a little, and I apologize.
Okay.
I wasn't sure, but it's right in
All
that ballpark. By the way, too, Dan, and really for everyone that does listen in on this, you should also know that we provide, that's cancellation insurance. So that's
Right.
if you have to cancel. Now, as far as trip insurance, so what happens if lost luggage or there's delays or if someone needs hospitalization? We provide an insurance package included in the price of the trip for all those things that I've just mentioned to you, for delays, for lost luggage. The biggest piece, I think, is medical. If something
Right.
happens to you, we never want that, but things do happen sometimes. But
Right.
anything from the most minor thing you could imagine to the most serious thing, a heart attack, stroke, death, all of that, we would repatriate the body back in that case. But any of those kind of things are all covered in our insurance package that's included in the price of the trip.
Okay. That sounds great.
Okay, so you know that.
Now, is that included in the brochure, I presume?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is
Okay.
in there, and we do
All right.
state that for you, yeah. And you can
Okay.
get more information on that too. But yes, that is stated in there.
Okay. Good.
Okay.
I do have an update on the Santorini trip. I'm looking at the brochure now. It is showing a double occupancy price of $899 per person.
Okay, that's what I thought. $899, Dan.
Okay.
Okay. I've got a couple what I call housekeeping items that I just want to mention. So, I mean, I guess I really could. You didn't really wrap the trip up, but at the end of Santorini, then that would be your last day, or those that are going to Santorini, that'll be their last day, and then we'll ferry back to Athens the next morning, and we'll fly home. Then fly back home that next day, and you'll get back the next day. It's 2 days going over because of the time difference, but 1 day going back, and so you get back home the same day you leave. Later, but you'll get back home that same day.
That's fun.
The housekeeping items that I wanted to quick mention, Dan, if you've never traveled with us, and for others that haven't, and even for those that have, so a couple just quick bullet points I want to hit. One is we can take you anywhere you want to go. So, and I say this because let's say you want to go to Santorini, or maybe you don't want to go to Santorini. Maybe you just want to do the Greece trip. But maybe you've got a bucket list item that you've always wanted to go to, or you've got family or friends that live in Europe, and you say, Alan, yeah, we're going to go to Santorini and do Santorini, but when we're finished, I'd like to go to Paris for 2 or 3 days. Can you arrange that for us? We do that frequently for travelers. We can arrange whatever you want. It's not a package deal. If you just want us to route you back home, instead of sending you home after Santorini or Athens, if you're just going to do the initial part of the trip, just route me through Paris for 2 days or 3 days. I'm going to go see my son who lives there, or my family or friends. We'll just route you through Paris. We'll work that through with you, get the times you want, what's comfortable to you. Do you need a hotel? No, we're staying with friends. No, we're staying with family. Fine. We can take you anywhere you want to go. We actually do this with about 20% of travelers that go on our trips. They will go over and do something else because they're there. It's their opportunity to go see. I just learned my son-in-law, he's in the Air Force, and he's about to be his next assignment's coming. Not deployed, but just his next. He's at Andrews Air Force Base right now. But I tell the story because we saw him about a month ago, and I said, "What's next?" And he said, "Well, we could be in Hawaii, we could be in Germany, we could be in the Netherlands." So I can assure you my next trip, be it with Chamber Discoveries, I'll be routing myself probably to one of those places to sit and spend some time and see them while I'm there, right? So my wife and I will go there and spend some time. So we could take you anywhere, and we can also take travelers from anywhere. It's important that obviously Matt and Doris are selling this program to the Marion Chamber members and to your community, but also they may have friends that live elsewhere. I have a number of people that'll say to me, "God, my parents, they live in Dallas, but boy, they sure would like to go on this trip." We can take them from Dallas or LA or Orlando or Minneapolis. It doesn't matter. We could take them from any city, fly them in on the trip, do the trip with you, and then fly them at the end back to their respective areas. When I go on my trips, we go with another couple of couples. One lives in Atlanta and one lives in Charleston, South Carolina. And they go on our trips with us, and we route them from those respective areas. We do the trip together, have a ball, and we then go back to our respective homes. So we can take you anywhere, and we can take you from anywhere that you like. People have family or friends. That's great. Luggage.
Alan, I did want to, real quick, to piggyback on that, I do know a number of travelers that used Chamber Discoveries and said that there's been no more flexible kind of agents to work with than you folks in terms of making those, like you said, extending the stays that they're having, or rearranging a different way of getting home after a certain amount of time. Or they said that you guys have been incredibly flexible with that, unlike any other, I guess, kind of trip programmer that they've ever worked with.
Yeah, well, thank you, man. Yeah, we really do a good job with that, and it's amazing the number of people that take advantage of it, to be perfectly honest with you. So it works to both of our advantages. We're happy to do it, and I think it's great for the travelers as well. Luggage, you're allowed one checked piece of luggage included in the trip, 50 pounds, Dan, 50 pounds. And it's 50 pounds.
Right.
If you're over, they're going to nail you. I quick tell the story. A year and a half ago, I was at the airport counter, and the gal looks at me and she goes, "Well, Mr. Seibert, I'm sorry, you're at 50 and a half pounds." I said, 50 and a half pounds? You're going to charge me because I'm a half a pound over? Are you really? She was. And so I had to take a couple things out, throwing in my wife's. I just say that story because they used to not be sticklers. You throw it up there and they took it and you went. In today's world, they are sticklers about this. So if you're traveling, be careful. Make sure you're at 50. You can take a carry-on onto the plane if you want to. My wife and I, a lot of times, will take a carry-on and put like a flexible carry-on, a bag of some sort in it, so that we're bringing trinkets and stuff back home in the carry bag, in the flexible bag, so we only have two bags. So, checked piece 50, and then you can carry a normal carry-on piece, not a big one, but a normal carry-on piece can certainly go on as well. Currency will be in euros, all euros, nothing else. Today, the euro is, I checked, was at 0.84 euros to the $1. So that's where it's at today. It was at 112 in March. So it's come down quite a bit through everything's happening. Yeah. Only passports, valid passports are needed. No visas. Don't have to worry about visas. Valid passports. And the key on the passport is just to be reminded that they must be valid 6 months post-trip. So the day you come home, That date, 6 months. They must be valid for 6 months post-trip. Okay?
Yep.
Yep. Converters, you do need the converter for Greece. So if you're charging your phone or charging your camera, Doris, I will send you over, if you can send to Dan. The easiest way is to show a picture, and I've got the picture of the converters, Dan. You'll know exactly. There's several different ones. Countries have different ones. I'll send the picture if you can send, and then you can send it to anybody that might want it. It shows what the converters look like. I think that's
Okay.
Yep, of course.
yeah. Call the bank. Obviously, if you've traveled, you know to do. I remind people, call your bank, let them know you'll be out of the country. There are hair dryers in the hotel and in the hotel room. So for anyone and that's a question that comes up every time. Are there hair dryers in the hotels? Yes, there are. So there are hair dryers. Let's see. I think I've covered my list of, I think that's my laundry list of items that I always want to make sure I cover with travelers. Really a good trip and see a lot. As I said, and I've said it about 14 times, how much we enjoy the opportunity to, in this one, to spend time in Santorini. It's spectacularly beautiful, and I think it's a place you'd want to be. Now, it may work for you, may not. I get it. But it's everything I'm telling you. It's just so lovely. It's a beautiful, beautiful island. But whatever we can do to help you, let us know. Let us know how we can make it easier for you guys. You know, we try to do the work and keep it off Doris and Matt's hands. And
Great job.
we try to do those kind of things. So I guess if that's it, well, great. Thanks, guys. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Alan.
Thanks a lot.
Doris.
Thanks,
Matt.
Alan.
Thanks.
Have a
Dan.
good evening, guys. Have a good week. Take care.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.